Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and today we're going to work on a Roddy by Penn. It's the 361 Pro Tournament, and there's an interesting story that goes along with this, so that's why I selected this one to go work on that, and it needed a little bit of a tune-up. So Roddy by Penn, what is that all about? So let's go back in time. So you have Roddy Tackle. I'm going to take the spool off while we do this. You have Roddy Tackle Company. It was pretty much started in the 50s making rods. And that's what the focus was. Now, it didn't call it Roddy Tackle just because of rods. The founder of it happened to be a fellow named Harvey Rodstein, and he began making rods at a young age, just for himself. And then, as it turns out, he started making some custom rods. His renown grew. He started a company that, with his brother, that started building rods or wrapping rods for Sears. And then onward over time to forming an alliance and becoming part of the Master Tackle Company. And many of us at the time are certainly aware of Master rods because the Master eventually in 2002 bought Penn Reels. And Master started to use the name of Penn. In this case, they took their Roddy brand and made it Roddy by Penn to kind of exploit the name. And then Master went on a little bit later to sell Penn, and he sold it to K2, and then K2 was purchased by Jordan, and Jordan is the parent company that owns Pure Fishing, and that's where the Penn brand is today. Okay, so I took a lot of stuff off here while we were chatting away, just to show you the workings of it. This is an older technology. The reel is somewhere between 2005 and 2010. It says 6-ball bearings on it. We'll go find out about them. A main bearing here, which is what you like to see. The older style anti-reverse, which is kind of driven by this eccentric spring and anti-reverse dog. It's got a point on it. If you look under the rotor, there's a whole series of saw teeth there, and when that point comes out in the anti-reverse, it grabs one of those teeth and stops the rotor from moving. And then of course you have the anti-reverse override here, so that'll pull this in and prevent that from coming out to catch the teeth. All right, so we just wanted to take a look up top. It's pretty clean, so we'll start the overhaul here by just oiling that top bearing. I use a Real X oil for that, and I'm going to give it a healthy dose of that because I'm not sure the last time that this was serviced. Once I do that, I can go right back in and just put this back on here. You'll notice I use a parts bucket here, and my parts tray is for all my pieces and parts so that I don't lose them as we go work on the reel. So let me just go ahead and put that back before we go too much further. And then we're going to take the side plate screws out. So we have a bump guard and 3 side plate screws. I suspect that there'll be a screw hiding under the bump guard, so let's go ahead and remove that. Yeah, so there was a couple of those companies that kind of became that way. They started using the Penn brand. You had Jarvis Walker was another one. I don't know if that was ever owned by Master or not. It was an Australian brand, and you would see the earlier reels, Jarvis Walker, and then it would say a Penn Worldwide Company. Jarvis Walker eventually got sold off. It became part of Bimini Products. Bimini makes tsunamis, and I don't know if there's any Jarvis Walkers available today. I know that you can find them used, but I'm not sure if they just took the technology from those and developed a tsunami reel, or if they just discontinued the brand after a while. But regardless, they were all good reels, but they were all moderately priced reels compared to a Penn Spin Fisher or whatever the latest reel was. They're probably meant to be a disposable brand, as opposed to one that you're going to keep a lifetime of parts and service available for. And I think that's probably what we'll see here. We'll see, I believe, a decent technology, but not leading edge. It would be a midpoint reel, in terms of pricing. And it would give you a couple of good years, well maintained and lightly used. You could probably keep it a lifetime, but it's not going to compare to a like I said, the Spin Fisher, or by today's standards, a Battle or a Conquest, or one of the higher end kind of spinning reels that Penn has out on the marketplace there. So these are Phillips head screws, but I'm using a flat blade. It just seems like it's one of these awkward screw things, which is kind of right between a bit. So just having better luck here, it seems, with a 1/4-inch screwdriver. You'll notice in my parts tray I keep a lot of different screwdrivers for that reason. So, all right, we'll go ahead and we'll pull the side plate off. And let's get a look underneath and see what we have there. Okay, so we have a reel that's in pretty good shape here. Just a quick look at this. Got some dirt and grease on there. We'll go clean that up. Just going to go ahead and put this washer and nut back on here. Just to let's check one more time. Okay, we'll go ahead and put that back on. Oops, there's this washer that belongs here. And this has got a reverse threaded nut. I noticed that when I was taking it off. Some of the reels that you'll find have a nut that removes clockwise as opposed to counterclockwise. And you just need to pay attention to that, because when you go to tighten this, you need a reel that you need to know which way to tighten the nut on it. So here we go. We'll put that down here. Just make sure that's spinning freely, which it is. And now we'll come down here and just pay attention to this. Let's clean off some of that older grease on the main gear here. Checking the teeth, making sure that that the teeth are all uniform, not worn. Same thing with the internal ones that drive the crosswind gear. And these look to be in good condition, so let's just go ahead and take some blue grease and go spread that around. You don't have to load all of the channels in. The blue grease I use is a Penn Precision Reel Grease. There's plenty of them on the market. I would just suggest, as many of you have heard, use a grease that's designed for fishing reels when you go ahead and do your service on them. It's better that way than take chances with some general purpose lubricants. Okay, some grease up on the pinion gear, some grease on the crosswind gear, some grease on the crosswind block, some oil on that back bearing there. So that's 3 bearings, right? There's a bearing here, a bearing up top, and a bearing in the side plate. I'll go ahead and put some oil on that bearing on the side plate as well. So that's 3 of the 6. I guess we can guess where some of the others are. My guess would be that's 4th there. There's probably 1 in the handle, and there could be 1 in the spool there. I don't see that. We'll get over to that spool in a moment to go ahead and service the drags, but we just want to make sure it's turning smoothly before we button that reel up, and it is. So let's go ahead and put this back on before we go much further. We'll go take these, and then what we'll do is we'll go up top there and we'll service the drag stack. This reel kind of caught me by surprise here. The listing on the spool is for heavy line. It starts at 20 pound test, and it moves up to 40 pound test. It says you can do 170 yards of 20 pound test and 140 of 40 pound test, or something like that. So my guess is that this was probably a reel that was very popular with catfishing, where you're going for the big fish. It's a nice size reel. It would say you could do surf casting with it, but the surf, you don't get the big fish all the time. You get a lot of 1 to 2 pounders, and certainly it's overkill to have a 20 or 30 or a 40 pound line on something like that. Also on the surf, you want to throw that line far, and the heavier the monofilament, the more drag there is on the casting, and it just doesn't get out there. So I'm sure there are a lot of folks that got this reel and decided they were going to load it up with 15-pound line maybe and use it in the surf, and I'm sure it treated them just fine. So again, not sure. Again, the reel's about 10 years old, based on the history of when Roddy by Penn was showing up as a brand in the stores. And if you were in the store buying this reel back then, you were probably in a general merchandise store as opposed to a bait and tackle shop or a one that's geared, a store that's geared to the higher end fishing enthusiast. There would be, it's better than a starter reel, but it's one that's a mid-priced reel, certainly not on the high end, and it would probably be something that folks would use occasionally as opposed to every day. It's not a daily driver. Okay, so that's we're going to put that together. We'll go grab the bump shield and put that back on. Just kind of working ourselves in a reverse cycle from where we were. Put that back on there. Bump shield just kind of keeps you from nicking up the body, fracturing the case when if you hit the gun wall of a boat or the rail of a pier or the like. All right, now we'll just get that handle screw so we can put that back together. And a quick turn there. Yeah, that rides nice. I'll grab the click rotor. The click rotor is designed to let you know that the reel is backpedaling with the drag. You have a multi-function drag there, so there's a little clicker on the bottom of the spool right here, and that will click against the rotor, hence the name click rotor. Okay, top end of the reel is done. Going for the bottom now, and what we're going to do is just check the drags. These look like they're perfect, but for the sake of showing you how to repair and how to work these reels, you want to make sure that the drags are serviced and clean. So we'll go grab this. Now there's three types of drags. I'm not quite sure what's in this. There's a felt drag, there's a fabric drag, and there's a Teflon drag. And these are felt drags. So felt drags get oiled. You can see that these are probably sticking together for some time. Felt drags get oiled to make them operate at peak efficiency. And these are pretty thick felt drags, but that's what you want to do. You want to come in, you've got a drag washer here, then we got this one. We're going to take the oil again, we'll give it a good bath on that felt washer because that keeps them flexible. Then we're going to grab the first of the round washers. We're going to grab the second of the felt washers, we'll give that a good bath too. Make sure that it gets pretty saturated. Then we have a keyed washer here. It's got two tabs that are bent inward, and we're going to put those into the slots on the spool so that it seats accordingly. Last of the felt washers. Another good dose of oil on those to keep those nice and fresh. Top washer. And then we have the clip ring, which sits in the groove in the spool. So it is a spring. So be careful as you load this in that it doesn't pop. Otherwise you'll spend some time on your hands and knees trying to find the thing if you're so lucky. And in this case, it didn't load properly, so let's go ahead and do it again. And that's why you'll see that I have the hand on it at all time. Okay, now you can see that it's riding in the groove as it should be. And go ahead and load that spool back on then. Go ahead and load the button on. Tighten that down. Making sure that the drags are holding, which they are. Make sure that everything's working, and there you go. There's a Roddy by Penn. It's the Pro 361. It's a long cast spool on it. It's designed for big fish. It's got a 4.6 to 1 gear ratio. You'll only find them used these days, but it's a reel that looks like it is built on the right dynamics. It's got good technology behind it. This one's a clean example of it, and it'll last a long time if you just take care of it. But again, for those of you that may or may not be familiar with Roddy by Penn, that's what the story is behind it. A rod manufacturer who got acquired by Master Tackle, who purchased Penn, who used the name for a while on some of its other products, and then sold Penn off to a bigger conglomerate, and still stays in business today under the Master Tackle brand. So I hope that's been helpful. If you have that reel, now you know how to tune it up. If you were curious about those reels, you learned a little bit today. So with that, I'm going to sign off. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Thank you for viewing it. If you enjoyed it, please like it. If you want to see more, please subscribe. Thanks again.